This is Keith Myers, and today I'm in Warburton. This episode I'm looking at St Werburgh's old church in Warburton. So this is an Anglo-Saxon church that goes back over 1,000 years. As you'll see in a moment, we've got a wooden timber structure and stone that's been built, a hodgepodge really of church features that have been built into one. And on this Saturday day, I think the 9th of March maybe, ish, 8th or 9th of March, it's very quiet, no one else here. I had to arrange to come today and have a look at this space, but I think it's really interesting, really fascinating place, so we're going to go and find out, have a look around. First thing you notice is the lich gate. So the lich gate being the place you would cross the threshold from life to death. So it is a very rural graveyard, please take care. So we'll enter through the lich gate. You can see this beautiful looking building straight ahead of us, and where we are in the proximity of Warburton, the old village around us. Is it like an old hamlet, would you describe it as, or an old village? Maybe it was an old hamlet back in the day. There's a farm nearby. There's also the remains of an old abbey that, well, the old abbey isn't there anymore, but we know the old abbey was here. And then we've got the church, which is pretty cool. I love a good old church. Pretty amazing really. Have a look over here. Some of the graves over this side. Church looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't it? There's an opportunity for a little bit of photography here. I'll get my camera out in a moment. Really beautiful. There's a lot of air traffic around here as well. So the tower being 18th century we've built. There's another ancient church that I've explored, which I'm really happy about. It's part of this church conservation trust. So these are really interesting places to come and see. It's a really nice tribute, isn't it? It's fascinating, isn't it, to read the old stories of people, if you can. The language slightly changes as time changes as well. So the lettering changes. Lieth, words like lieth, it's probably 16th, 17th century, 16th century. We don't use that anymore, do we really? Or beveried, there we go. So 1645. So this side of the church has been remodelled in 1645. The church is over 1,000 years old, we know that, but ultimately there are, different phases of building here. So the original structure isn't really here. One part of the wall is, but it's been rebuilt, isn't it? It's a bit like Trigger's brush, isn't it? Rolling Fields and Horses. Yes, 18th century burials here. Then we got some pathway of Richard's house there. He was here before, helping us out. And then we got this beautiful church building. So wow, look at this space as you enter. This is unbelievable, isn't it? This is an ancient Anglo-Saxon church. You can see it's timber framed. It looks like a Norman keep, doesn't it? A Norman stable or something. So I know that this side is wattle and daub. So wattle and daub, we know stables and Norman housing were made out of this material. during the construction of motte baileys or castle kingdoms, if you like, wooden structures. You can just see spatially what an interesting place this is. It's really beautiful, really peaceful, really quiet. You can see the timber roof, the nave. As we look out of the west side of the building, you can see the nave above us. Nave going all the way down to the chancel. Really beautiful. It's absolutely peaceful building. It's very interesting. It's pre-Norman. It's dating. It's an Anglo-Saxon church. It's very, very old. It goes back into the pre-Norman times of this country. We think that Warburton would have been proximity to the river crossing, an important place. There was an abbey across the road as well, so very important place. The interior, just have a look around. You can see on this north wall how it's actually slanted so much, and that's because this is actually wattle and daub on this north wall, so it's very, very old. You can see this, it slopes. It's so old, it's sloping. It almost feels like you're in a Anglo-Saxon barn or a Norman motte and bailey keep or something like this. It just looks really interesting. You've got these really, really old timber beams going up into the nave. So the nave is the place where I am now, where the congregation would have been. Over there is where the chancel and the rector would have been. It's quite a small place, but it's very beautiful. Had to arrange a visit today, of course, so it's part of the historic church trust as well, the church's conservation trust. So here is the vault dedicated to the Drinkwaters. So they gave this, or they paid for this for, to presume, the Drinkwater family. I think some of these are the stones that were from the priory or the abbey across the way. And then there is the fine gentleman, Reverend Geoffrey Warburton. Wow, God bless you, sir. And we'll sign in today as well. And it feels like we're in sort of an old barn or old construction. And where we are, we're in a church that is over 1,000 years old. So this church goes way back to Anglo-Saxon times. And we're talking pre-history here. Across the way, outside, is the remains of an old abbey. And this church has gone through several phases of construction. You can see here, as we enter the chancel, we've got really old flooring, and some of this is being weathered away. We've still got dedication to some of the rectors that were interred here, and we've got a particular one here, 1963, the rector Ronald Spencer, and a lectern where we would have been giving a sermon. So maybe the late rector Ronald Spencer would have been given a sermon here to a congregation. And if you imagine, if you go back in time 1,000 years, then just picture the people's faces, the congregation, the stories they would have told, the generations of people that once worshipped in this church. It's absolutely fascinating. Definitely worth having a visit here. You'd have to arrange access, not all the time. I think some have been more easy to access, but at least get in touch, email them. There's a phone number on the website. You can have a look around. It's always worth checking these old churches and just see if you can actually get access before you just turn up. A lot of the time they are actually open, but if you want to ensure access, then get in touch with them. They're quite welcoming people that are custodians of these places. So the chancel is behind me, and then as you look around you can see the nave behind me now. in the distance. And yeah, really interesting place really. I can imagine delivering a sermon here from the pulpit to the congregation, going back 1,000 years. I mean, look at the warping on that wall. Fascinating, isn't it? Oh, this is why the Church Conservation Trust is important, isn't it? Because you've got a real issue there with that. That looks... might have to tell him about that. I wonder if he's aware. It looks like it's ready to go. See that big crack? Dear. This is why churches need donations to help them really, because you haven't got a congregation like you used to have, and you know, how do they get money in this day and age? Anyway, oh yeah, look at this tiling as well. It's really beautiful. I really love this style of tiling. Really beautiful. Seeing this in many churches. I think it's 18th, 17th century. I'll check my facts on that one, but it's really beautiful. I think heritage is really, really important. This church is really important. So let's have a look at this little fact sheet together. It's quite dark inside here actually. Let's go over to the font. So here we are, here's a little guide of this space. Number one is, okay, so we know it dates back from the Saxon period. It's Adam de Dutton, founded a short-lived priory across the way. By the west door is an inscription to William Drinkwater. Have a look at that. That's where the priest would have been, where he came out of. Again, the congregation would have been here. Wow, it's very old, isn't it? You just feel the age of this. You can clearly see the warping of the building. So I think it's very important that we donate to these places to keep them going. They're very important places. Without donations, I think churches like this would just disappear. So I think it's really important that we preserve their memory, their history, and we make a contribution. So I've been treated very well today, been privileged to come here and have a look at this church. I arranged this, so I think it's just really interesting as a vehicle for storytelling. I mean, what stories could we tell here? I mean, what could we do with this church to bring it back to life? It'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess the village has to interact with it. That's the key, really. Anyway, continuing. So the west door by the font has an inscription to Drinkwater. So I'm just reading this pamphlet as I go around, essentially. You can come in here as well. I can't see the inscription. William Drinkwater, the keeper. By the font. There we go, William Drinkwater, the keeper. It's on the font. The north wall. It's framed and filled with wattle and daubs. That's that wall we've just been going over, which I knew it was. So in the 18th century, the chancel was again rebuilt and brick and tower was added. So the brick tower outside was an 18th century construction. That's the tower outside here, this area. It's been blocked off, that space there. You can see it's been blocked off over there. What else have we got? By the end of the 16th century, the chancel was remodelled and the altar rails were added. Right, okay. Very interesting. Communion table also in the 16th century. So the communion table being... Oh, that's a communion table over here, underneath the chancel. The hexagonal pulpit dates from 1600, which is really fascinating. So that pulpit is older than America, which is really interesting. The east window was inserted in 1857. Okay, so this is the east window. The images feature the life of Christ, the nativity, the crucifixion, and the resurrection. Below my feet in the sanctuary are encaustic tiles. These are encaustic tiles, probably made in Minton, by Minton, which were also added in the 19th century remodelling. So these are called ledger stones, the floor of the chancel, commemorating people who were considered worthy enough to be buried near the altar. Fascinating. They're either prominent local people or financial means. They were, acquire their burial plot in the most auspicious place within the church. Many people are buried below the flagstones of the church, including 5 rectors, members of the Drinkwater family. However, most inscriptions have been worn away. Wow. So these are some of the Saxon finds of the church as well. So these are actually from the priory, the stones from the priory. They stood on the present church site, so it was a priory here. And presumably the priory was built by the Normans, and the Saxons were here before. This is clearly a stone coffin. Fascinating, isn't it? So somebody was interred in this coffin. There's an engraving here as well. So that's really interesting as well. So this church has been dedicated to Werburgh, an Anglo-Saxon saint, daughter of Wulfhere, the first Christian king of Mercia. So we went to Repton recently and had a look at Mercia, the capital. She died around 700 AD in Lincolnshire. So in 1999 there was a detailed survey conducted, and dendrochronology assessment was commissioned of the timbers in the nave and the chancel. So these timbers going into the nave and the chancel, which is kind of like this one. And it says here, this showed signs that the church once had at least 6 phases. So these show that the church has at least 6 phases of construction. So they used a process to find this out. The first dating to the late 12th century, revealing an aisled building, wow, related to the construction of a nearby priory, 1187 to 90. The building was restored or enlarged in the 13th century and an early English. So yeah, I think it's worth coming and have a look around the church. You have to arrange access nowadays, so there are a number of people here that will help you with that, including Richard and one of the gardeners or the keepers, the wardens as well, are still around. But I think it's really interesting, isn't it, that we're in a church that goes back 1,000 years at least, and we need to preserve that memory for future generations, really, because if these go, then what do we have left? What stories can we tell to future generations? Yes, we'll invent them, but ultimately it will be tragic if these old places went. And you don't have to be a religious person, you don't have to be, shut the door, you don't have to be someone religious or a Christian. to appreciate this. Anyway, let's go and have a look around the churchyard. Just looking around the churchyard. The weather's a bit better now. Clearly see that wattle and daub wall, can't you? It's really warped on this north side. You can see the old entranceway that was blocked in as we was looking at the pamphlet a minute ago. Really see the line of this has changed, it's warped over time, so wattle and daub, really interesting. So the old wattle and daub would have been hay, animal material, mud, manure maybe. So that's really interesting, isn't it? The old tree area. These trees could be very, very ancient as well. I wonder if anyone's done any dating of the trees or could tell us how old these trees are, because you often find, I mean, under was it Henry or Edward, where he did a decree that he wanted elms to be planted in churches so the bowmen could use them. That is a true story. I might get my facts mixed up, but it was the King of England that had made a decree to make sure that all churches had trees inside, so then the long bowmen could train daily using their bow and arrow. This is really interesting, isn't it? I'm not sure. I mean, it's very ornate, isn't it? Clearly, I don't think there's going to be anyone inside. Presumably not. Very interesting chamber, isn't it? Some of the engravings and the carvings there. And this is the tree I was talking about. Really interesting, really old tree. I find it quite sad that, you know, people die and their loved ones then die, and then just the worship stops, you know. And of course, as I've mentioned before, using stones like this, the modern Victorian way of doing this was only become a thing from the 16th century, really. It's a fairly modern thing, really, to have a veneration to yourself, for your family to come and see. It's a really interesting tree, isn't it? It's overhanging. It's quite old, presumably, maybe a couple hundred years old. As spring's breaking out, I can just see flies now coming into view. Apparently there's been films made here and people doing history series as well, which is not surprising really, is it? That's the tower I was talking about. I'll go around the other side, it's quite bright and overexposed. But yeah, that's the graveyard on the north side. Get back into the church. There you go, that's the 18th century tower that was built. It looks like a revival, Norman, I don't know, 14th century revival or something, doesn't it? Made of brick. It's very cool, isn't it? Really great. Richard will be back soon, he said. The gentleman that's letting me have a look around. It must be locked in now, presumably. You can see the tower, how really big it is. Massive. This being the processional way back to the Lich Gate outside the church.